us at HDFC, sustainability doesn't sit outside in a separate bucket. It is very, very core and embedded in everybody's function within the organization. HDFC is India's largest housing finance company. We are the pioneers of housing finance in India. We were set up in 1977. So we've had 45 years of being in the housing finance industry. Today, our loan book size is about $85 billion, and we've cumulatively financed about 10 million housing units so far. We believe that our core business in itself fulfills a huge social objective. So essentially, in a country like India, the housing shortage is immense. Some of the unofficial estimates put the housing shortage as high as about 40 million units. Our mortgage to GDP ratio is also extremely low at about 11%. And when you look at peer countries, you can see mortgage to GDP ratios at about 20%. In the advanced economies, you're seeing it upwards of 60, almost ranging up to 90% in certain economies. So the market has a huge potential to grow. And for us at HDFC, we look at sustainability, or we look at ESG as nothing but a simple narrative of what we do each day at HDFC. The average loan size of an economically weaker segment would be about $12,000. The average housing loan for a low-income segment would be about $24,000. But it's also important to look at housing beyond just income levels and to try and look at inclusivity as well. So out of the loans that we disbursed last year, almost about 64% were loans to first-time home buyers. These are genuine users of their homes. About 70% in value terms are loans to women. That means the women are owners of their property. And now, why is this important? It's important that women have their ownership, the houses are registered in their names, and their property rights are recognized. We've also managed to grow a large rural housing loan book, which is giving loans to farmers, horticulturists, planters. We've been able to learn to assess their crop incomes and be able to fund the rural housing side as well. We have a niche product called HDFC Reach, which addresses the housing requirements of those from the informal sector. Now, in India, being such a vast country, it's all about reach, reach, and reach. That means our focus now is moving towards penetrating deeper geographies in order to reach out to more customers. And the government of India had a vision of providing housing for all under its flagship program. And HDFC was one of the leaders under the program of the credit-linked subsidy scheme. This enabled customers from the low-income groups and middle-income groups to be able to afford housing. It gave them a little helping hand through a subsidy. And HDFC was the largest had the largest number of beneficiaries under the credit-linked subsidy scheme. We've been trying to encourage more green housing. There are challenges today in India. Less than 5% of the housing stock is green housing, but it is something that is gradually changing. We're doing a lot of work in advocacy. In fact, we have a memorandum of understanding tied up with the IGBC, which is the India Green Buildings Council, and we're doing a lot of work in terms of leveraging our relationships that we've had with developers, getting in the whole ecosystem. We're trying to do a lot more due diligence on the environmental and social side. When you do an ENS due diligence, it isn't compliance, but you need to understand why it is good for the entire ecosystem. You know, in the Indian context, you have to understand that I would say due credit must go to the capital markets regulator, SEBI, that came out with the BRSR framework, which is the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report framework. Now, this framework is important because it is an indigenous framework. It works for Indian companies. And the framework is designed in a way where you can get comparatives. I think the government of India has done a number of good initiatives. right from very simple homegrown ideas of what they're calling the LIFE program, which is Lifestyle for Environment, which is just getting the common man to be a lot more sensitive on sustainability issues.
Yeah.
They've recently come out with a sovereign bond, green bond framework. It's not just everybody saying India is the bright spot right now, not just because we have the largest, fastest growing major economy in terms of our GDP, but when you really look at it, look at the power of the middle class, look at the power that our public digital infrastructure has given us to be able to get financial inclusion. So the JAM Trinity is something that has really worked well for India, which is linking, the social security, which is the Aadhaar card, with the access to financial inclusion, bank accounts, with the access with the telephone, the mobile. The government has come very, very clearly in support of a transition to a low carbon economy. So there is a lot of investments that are coming into the renewable energy space, into green hydrogen, and there is a policy framework to support all this. So whether you're looking at the production link incentives coming in to support, whether it's on the EV batteries or whether you're looking at the solar panels, various components across, the policy thrust is in the right space.